fat now. Nice barbels.
Get that one in, Stevie.
I caught this about 35 yards out, just off the road.
Off that bush over there. Ah, what time?
Well, you're never going to believe this. All else has failed. It froze horrendously last night, but fish have been topping all over the place. So back to basics, back to the fly rod, which is a little bit different in January at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I've thrown out underneath the tree over there my little sprayed up flavoured cork ball. And lo and behold, we've got a nice mirror on.
But to see a fish like that
Nice
from
and
the
low.
surface, absolutely incredible.
Looking at low to the ground. Slippy old frosty bank. Say goodbye to the camera and we'll put you back and away. Oh, that water is gone. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
He's gone.
I think we'll have another one there.
One of the up-and-coming development lakes in the hands of dedicated, enthusiastic anglers keen to put something back into the sport that they draw so heavily from is Pallington Lakes, a day ticket course and carp water set in the heart of Thomas Hardy country near Dorchester in Dorset.
Go like the clappers, or they just
It is the training, testing and practice water of the Chubb Palatrax carp angling team. With so many carp programmes now presented by the individual angler and their personal approach, we thought we'd try something a little different and work this humble offering to angler entertainment and advancement with a team approach. Some team members will shine on this occasion. Someone will also end up the blanker. The one angler we hope won't be the blanker is of course the man responsible for presenting this guide. Simon Fat Boy Who Wants to Be Slim Pomeroy. Team head honcho. Well, in a democratic sort of way. Over the next 50 minutes or so, we're going to follow a 72-hour session which includes 3 nights. It's early January. Not a time traditionally associated with carp angling, which is generally seen to be a 3-season scenario. So we thought we'd try to put old fables to rest and see what could be found during this, the coldest month of the British climate.
He will splash me as he goes away.
The principle of the game is of course realistically the same, whatever the time of year. There are just different factors to consider, and variation based on those deliberations are aspects that we'll cover as the programme develops.
Yes.
The fishing will be whatever the fishing will be, but the more thought, preparation and experimentation that goes into the game by those willing to make the effort reaps its own rewards. And we've got off to a good start, with Nick game on to coin the vernacular, and Simon not catching at the moment, but getting some practice with the landing net.
2-0. It's not looking good for me, Nick.
No, this fish I took on the far margin. I've had it on for a while now. It's just coming in quite quietly. It's not massive, but it's put a lovely bend in the rod. Apple and walnut again.
It's taking the fish.
Yeah, it's taken line. It's taken line. But as I say, it was cast at about 100 yards, Simon, so it's had quite a battle all the way across.
Common? Oh,
Could
one
be,
moving
I've
under
just,
your other swimmer there.
yeah, I've got a couple of fish crashing at the moment, which is quite good. It's just steadily turning
the
up
net for
those
you, my friend.
margins. Would you do the honours with the net? Excellent. Getting ready.
See if I can get this one in.
Yeah, below the fish, please.
I won't try and knock it off.
No,
I
it's a
promise.
mirror. By the look of that.
No, it's common.
You think it's common, do you? This is where it goes knit one, pearl one.
You back-leaded on this one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Believed to be mildly straight down.
Yeah.
That's a cracking looking fish.
Yeah,
You still going for the mirror?
still going for a mirror.
I think
Here
you're
it
right.
comes. As I say, it's been on a long time because that was a long way off. No? Still having a bit of fun.
He's still got a lot of life in him.
Yeah. I love it when they dive back deep like that.
Can't believe you're catching these fish, Nick.
I know. It's unusual for me. And
Bingo.
thank you very much.
Well done, Nick.
I think I'm right with the mirror.
You certainly are. It's a pretty one. About £8, £9.
18mm bait. All we need now
Well, unhook him.
is an unhooking mat. I just prop that there.
I'll just take him over to just a bit of soft grass in there, and then if you can run and get the mat. Can you get the mat?
Right, yeah, I certainly can.
Okay, Nick.
Yeah.
Sammy, can you please
Skid it underneath. Hiya, Sam. There we go.
That's a gorgeous fish. Where's your clinique, Nick?
It's in my small bag in the bivvy, Simon. Couple of small marks on it, but other than that, quite a pretty fish. Absolutely freezing cold. It's just beginning to frost everything up.
Lovely little fella.
Yeah.
Just to be honest with the clinique.
Oh,
It's just
steady, darling.
An
Still got life. Look
antiseptic
at that.
liquid, just to phase off any batches. Got a little mark on there. But hook hold. Gorgeous. Just a little touch. There you go. Just clean on the other side.
Yeah, I'll just have a quick check.
Full of beans still.
Still full of fight.
Could have played him for another half hour.
Yeah.
It's cracking a bit.
Yep. And how to skid them off the net. Right, if we take the net away, Simon, I'll get this fish back into the water. Okay, there you go.
Look at that. A
Beautiful.
few bubbles and away.
Yeah, absolutely cracking. That water is now freezing. Right, let's get it back out there.
2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
Yes. Where'd you get that one then, Stevie?
I caught this about 35 yards out, just off of the island there, on Palatrax red herring.
Off of that bush over there?
That's right, yeah.
Ah, what time?
2 o'clock in the morning. It was nice and cold. My
I thought I heard
my
you.
net was frozen. Had a few problems getting tangled with my other rods. But there she is.
Yeah, I thought I heard you having a few
£12, 8
problems.
ounces.
And on the red herring?
Yes.
Oh, nice fish.
Yeah, a lovely fish. Lovely big mouth.
Absolutely prime. Right, let's slot her away.
Yeah.
And get after some more.
Off you go. I'll see you again.
It's still freezing.
It is. Very cold. Well, I escaped from the banks, but only for a short time. because I do want to get back up there and catch some more fish for us. The team are still up there, banging away, getting those fish. But firstly and foremost, I've got to explain what I use. Tackle is a personal preference, and I understand that. I mean, it comes down to your budget, it comes down to what you like at the end of the day. We chop and change. My rig here, my setup here, is my own personal preference. Rod-wise, the start of it all, that's what we've got to talk about. I'm using Maver. They're nice rods, light rods, carbon fibre, nice reel seat. Very, very light bit of equipment. 2¼ pound test curve. Obviously you can have all the way through the range. I fish light. At Pallington, you haven't got to chuck your rods out miles. You don't need to hoolie them out. You've got nice fish into the 20s and up to £30, but this piece of equipment will handle it. Not a problem at all, and they feel right. The reel is lovely balanced. It's just a nice bit of equipment, and I say, that's my personal preference. This time of year, we allow 3 rods at Pallington, so I've got a 3-rod setup. Moving on from the rods, I can't say enough about them. They are a nice bit of equipment. Back to everybody's favourite. Everybody goes for them, is the Shimano bait runner systems for carp fishing. Again, a whole range of different reels. I've got 3 or 4 different types of them, but the ones I use at Pallington are the 6010 GTs. Fantastic bit of equipment, do what the job is. They shoot off when you want. You don't have any problems with them. We all love them. Everybody fishes with them nowadays. There's a lot on the market, but our preference, and certainly my preference, is the Shimano 6010s for this kind of fishing. Then you come down to, it is a very important bit of equipment, it's the pod. I mean, you can have bank sticks, you can have pods, single bank sticks, buzzer bars on single bank sticks, whatever you want. My preference, and okay, it's an expensive bit of equipment, is Martin Locks from Solars, his Globetrotter. It's a fantastic piece of equipment. I can't say enough about it. I don't like bank sticks personally. I tried them. I find they move around sometimes when you get really hard hits and big strikes. I don't like that. I like to be in control of my setup. And I say this piece of equipment certainly does the business. It's stainless steel. It comes with 2 sets of front bank sticks. So you can just, any condition you can use them. This kind of time of year, sometimes, well, you've seen the frost we've had, you don't want to be banging bank sticks into, making noise. It's just grief. This piece of equipment I can set up, I can fish steep banks, I can fish into the water with it. It is very, very good. I really like it. Again, it might sound unusual, but this tiny little bit at the back makes a lot of difference, especially fishing at night. And these mangrove buzz balls, they really are a nice bit of equipment. You can literally drop your rod into it, and that isn't going to go anywhere, and that's not even pushed into it. So they are a very, very nice piece of kit. Just that little piece to finish off with, and then the alarms. Again, we all know there's just a phenomenal range of alarms on the market, and again, it's what suits your budget. I'm lucky that I've got the Micron LXRs. They're the Fox ones. I think they are, well, they probably are one of the best on the markets, along with Delkims and such like that, top alarms. And at the end of the day, it's what gives you the shout. You know, you don't have to concentrate all the time while you're carp fishing, but as soon as you've got a reliable bit of kit here, these little alarms, and I know exactly where I'm going. These ones here, and it's something I do want to mention, and I'm not here to advertise for Fox or anything like that, but they've got a backdrop facility. It's very important for me. I mean, how many times will we run out there at night and think, we've had a run, is that fish coming towards us? And the fish I lose, and I'm cough to it straight away, are normally when I've had a backdrop, and I just get totally lost with it. These here have got a system when you get a drop back, these illuminate. And basically, the system here I'm showing you, because of the lines how they are, it won't allow the backdrop system to show us. But what will happen is this little light here will flash and flash. And basically, I know I've got a backdrop, I can run to that alarm, it's as bright as anything in the darkness, and I can hit into that fish and reel and reel and reel in, because I know he's coming towards me. And I must admit, for me anyhow, my problems of losing fish on the backdrops have almost just gone. You know, it's just an excellent piece of equipment. Going on from that, we can have sounder boxes into our bivvies. There's nothing worse this time of year than to sit out in the rain, because you've got to be near your alarms to hear them. You can wrap yourself up in your bivvy, and I use the sounder box for this. You can have, you know, ones with wires into your bivvies or whatever. This piece of equipment is fantastic. It's up to 200 metres of range. I don't advocate anybody leaves anywhere near that distance. You know, you want to sit on those rods all the time, purely for the hitting of the fish and also the safety of the fish. You don't want it running around out there. But beware, one thing I have found out with these little pieces of equipment, don't ever stick it inside the side panels of your bivvy. Because many a time I've woken up, you want to hit that fish, you run to the sound and go smack bang into the side of your bivvy. It's stupid. I don't enjoy it, and everybody takes the mickey out of me. But there we go. They're well worth it. They really are well worth it. Not a problem at all. That whole setup there is what I want, I use, and I catch fish on, and I enjoy catching fish on it. And I say that's, you know, when I say about the test curves of these rods, 2¼ pound, people go, well, that's light. You know, you're low on the test curve. Switch that little fella off. But you can feel the fish, you can stay with it all the time on low test curve rods. I enjoy my fishing, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to be one of those people that sits there for that amount of time when you carp fishing. You hit the fish, and then you've got to get that fish in. You've got to get that fish into the bank. That's not what I want. I want to feel that fish. I want to beat that fish. And with this kind of light equipment, and we'll go into the rigs, etc., and lines in a short time, but this piece of equipment here is what it's about. It's enjoying your fishing. And with everything I've got, this complete setup, and I say you can get any setup you want with the budget you've got. Nowadays, you can get a successful outfit quite cheaply, and you'll enjoy your fishing. It's not a case of just running those fish in, pulling them out on the bank, photo, put them back. Don't forget, you know, I started all my fishing when I was match fishing, light equipment, you enjoy the fishing. It's that kind of piece of setup. Okay, it's probably quite an expensive setup for most people's budgets, but I'm lucky, I'm involved in the fishing world, so therefore I treat myself to what I think is the best on the market for myself.
Nearly ready for the net, Carl.
You got her out of that bush quite nicely. Of course, she looks like a fish.
Nice common.
I thought that was a mirror when you had that out at distance. What was that?
It's middle rod again, over off of the island.
Just sat down having a cup of tea. We can't even do that in peace and quiet.
Good little scrapper.
Yeah, it's got plenty of go in it. Is that on that red herring?
Yeah, red herring again.
Not had a touch on that myself.
About 10 freebies around it. Is she ready?
Still got some fight left in her. You going to bring her in down this side in the corner here?
Yeah, I'll bring it to you, Carl.
Look at that. I love it when they boil just underneath the tip like that.
Nice bend in the rod.
That's on your £3 rod as well, isn't it? Up she comes.
Oh, not yet.
Was that on the one that was on mono? Did you catch that on mono?
Yeah.
Just as the sun is starting to go down as well. You say when and I'll lunge.
No, I'll bring it to you, Carl.
Ooh.
Certainly going well.
She's going for that bush, isn't she? I don't mind catching them like this, but not like 3 o'clock in the morning when it's freezing cold and it's covered in ice.
And
Come to Daddy.
in the bag. Thanks very
Well
much,
done.
Carl.
Oh, she's nice and deep. Looks bigger than I thought she was. Does this just unscrew?
Just
Wick it up. Okay.
We've got plenty of slack line.
Oh. It's about double figure, I think. Up we go. I'm going to stick her down there.
Let me just get my rod down, Carl. Right, we've got the
Got your
clinic.
clinic.
Nice hook hold on the bottom lip.
Just check she doesn't flap at this minute, because it's the last thing that I want.
There you go, mate.
Okay. You're clear with that?
I'll just put some Clinique on.
What's the mouth like? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Very good.
Good stuff. I'll just put your rod up there, out of the way.
And another nice common of about 11 pounds. We'll move the net, Carl.
Yep, I'll sit it down on that.
We'll
Lovely.
weigh. Okay.
Yep, there's no markings. Just pop her back.
Oh, I'm going to weigh her,
You're
mate.
going to wear her up as well? Looks like she's about to do that.
Can you
Okay.
zip up that end, please, Carl? Just
Good idea
grab
having
the
these zips,
scales.
because plenty of times when the zip will actually prevent the fish from kicking out and damaging itself, which is what we don't really want, because hopefully one day this will be £30.
And we've got 11 pound 10 ounces.
Let's have a look at that. Put it on there. I'll give you that. Gonna give it a
It's 2-0
scale?
to me, Carl.
It's not over till the fat lady sings. Stick these down here.
Right, if you can just hang on to that
Hold
side,
that
Carl. Whoa.
Okay.
And there we have her.
Up she goes.
Well, we'll see you again.
And off she goes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carp.
Fair play.
Right, well this is a £10 2 ounce common carp, 1:45 o'clock, just as the temperature is starting to rise a bit. About a metre off the island in the Rainbow Lake, on a 7-inch nylon hook length, fish meal boilie, flavoured with salmon oil and black pepper. Lovely fish, good fight, good bite, good day.
Whoa.
And there she goes. Thank you. Lovely.
Well, while I've been over there with Steve, myself and Nick have been back over here on the course lake, flat calm, and we've had a couple more fish. Slowly but steadily they're coming in. It's the main thing. The weather's right down, cold now, but I've got a lovely, pretty looking linear here. Look at those winter colours. You can't say that's not a nice fish. And Nick's got himself a pretty little common around there.
Yep, I actually prefer the commons, but when you see the linear mirrors, they are truly super fish. I'm going to let this little chap go. It's extremely cold. Let's pop them back.
Off she goes.
Lovely.
And I think this lovely looking lady's going to go back in as well. Like I say, look at those colours. Absolutely gorgeous. That linear line. Get me feet wet, it's worth it. Good little scrappers as well. Away, fit as a flea. Brilliant. That's what it's all about. Enjoying it. Well, you're never going to believe this. All else has failed. It froze horrendously last night, but fish have been topping all over the place. So back to basics, back to my fly rod, which is a little bit different in January at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I've thrown out underneath the tree over there my little sprayed up flavoured cork ball, and lo and behold, we've got a nice mirror on.
And the thing about it was, there was more than one fish, so we still stand an excellent chance of maybe getting a couple more. It's absolutely unbelievable with this frost, and still we're getting fish on the surface.
Into the bag.
And we've netted it. Absolutely perfect. The landing net is still covered in frost. It's absolutely freezing to the hand. What a cracking looking fish
One
this
in the
is.
bag, that's what it's all about. And that's a really pretty fish.
I've got to be so careful. It's icy, slippery.
Get out of the way from you.
Yeah, there we are, Simon. You
Cool.
to do the honours, young man.
And I think, you've got to admit, that's going to be a double neck. That's a double.
And I would shake your hand, but it's so cold.
Too cold. Big old meaty mouth on him. And
Yeah.
he's really taken that ball so far down. He really wanted that. And these fish don't take off the surface this time of year.
Absolutely
Really?
super.
Pretty fish. Got a hump on that, Nick.
Yeah.
You're even doing a pretty pose for the pictures. There you go. Look at that. Gonna give me £10?
9.5 to 10.
You
but
would,
for a
wouldn't
10 o'clock on a freezing January morning, what a fish from the surface.
But he's cold. He's
yeah,
cold.
he's almost as cold as we are. But they were there an hour ago. It really has been a good effort. Well done,
I shouldn't really
Simon.
say it, but I've missed 4, but there you go.
It really was a good effort.
Right,
And
back
I think
in.
there's still more to come from that
Tell you
spot.
what we'll do, Nick. We've got a little bit of mouth damage there, not from me, I hasten to add, but we just give him a bit of clinic there, my friend.
Right.
Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the rudder on that. This time of winter with the cold spell coming up.
It's frozen.
Is it?
It's frozen in the bottle.
No, we still got
You may get some out.
any damage to
There
fish
it is.
before they go to sleep for the winter will hold up. Can't be a bad thing. And he has had a bit of damage across there from some time ago. Right, it's back in the drink for you. One more look. That's a lovely hump on that one, isn't
That
it?
is.
That really
That
is
is.
a lovely
Let's go
hump.
with that. There.
Okay.
But to see a fish like that
Nice
from
and
the
low.
surface, absolutely incredible.
Keeping it low to the ground. Slippy old frosty bank. Say goodbye to the camera and we'll put you back and away. God, that water is cold. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
He's gone.
And I think we'll have another one there soon.
Well done, Nick.
Confident.
Well done. Spot on, mate.
Spot on.
Happy
Brilliant.
now, happy. Coffee time, I think. Well, we're in again. It's still taken off the top. The sun's gone away. It's started to rain, but they're still having it in January. A little bit smaller than the last one, but that's a different bend in your rod than all our bait runners we've had out, and they haven't been doing the action for us. That's because the fish are on the top. Crazy.
We've been feeding mixers all over this area, and even when they've gone out into the open water, fish have still been taking them. Totally the wrong time of year, totally the wrong conditions. It's raining, it was frosty this morning, and yet we're still taking them. Incredible.
Pretty little mirror, Nick.
It is.
He's ready to come in. God, about time.
And there he is.
A little bit smaller than the other one, but doesn't really matter. It's any sport this time is good sport for us.
It's got those starburst scales all over it. Can you just move that little bit of nonsense?
And that's all we're using. We're feeding in some of this sweetened dog biscuit. Let's say a little cork ball presented on a size 10 hook. And they love it. I'm not ever going to stop doing this. It's fun.
And it's beautifully hooked.
And it's cold.
There it goes.
My hands are cold.
You can just take the net away, Simon. Yeah. Those scales dotted absolutely all around it. There's little starbursts all over it. Absolutely lovely fish. Looks like it's lost a scale there sometime during its life.
Nice little rudder.
Yeah.
Pretty little fish.
It's a cracking fish.
What's it like to hold a fish, Nick?
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a few hours.
I'll say 7, 8 pounds possibly.
Yeah, probably 6 to 7. Right, we'll slide her back.
You can do the honours for me there, my friend.
You are. What a bailiff. This is where I fall in.
We can hope.
We can all live in hope.
It would certainly make a movie.
Right. Away you go, little chap. Perfect. The rain stopped, almost, and they're still surfacing. I think we'll get 1 or 2 more yet.
Like I was saying to Nick, you know, you've got to be diverse this time of year. The fish hold up. They don't act the same as they do in the summer. Any method goes. And if it's taking this for me to catch that, that's all it is. And they just have a go at it. And look at this now. This could wreck it for me, but we'll cast out a few more, give it another whirl. But I must admit, I'm a keen fisherman, but I'm not too keen in this weather. But we'll certainly give it a go. Back into the hole over there and see if we can winkle out another one.
I've put some more free offens out.
We've had 2, turned a couple of fish. There we go, they're still turning out there, off the tree there. So we shall plonk away again with my trusty bailiff here, flicking out the chummies. There's another one rising. Perhaps this rain will do something for us.
Might even get the bottom fish going.
Yeah, we could do with that as well. Well, I've escaped from the rain. Unfortunately, I'm not fishing anymore. I've come inside to show you how to tie some rigs. The rain out there has stopped the fly fishing. You can see I do enjoy that, and I'd like to be out there as soon as possible again if that rain stops doing it. But time's come to show some bottom rigs. I'm an uncomplicated fisherman. I put very, very simple rigs out on the bottom. I do believe that the most important part of carp fishing is what you've actually got presented on the bottom. Okay, we all like the nice equipment on the bank, but at the end of the day, it's what's on the bottom is going to catch the fish. And if it's not set up right, and you're not confident and you're not happy with it, it just won't work. You've got to be 100% in your mind confident that what you've got on the bottom is going to work. And the system I use, and I use it with great effect, and I'm 100% confident in it and in the ability of the stuff I'm using. The hook link I use, there's loads out on there on the market. There's loads of braids, loads of different kind of monos, but I just stick with Fox Illusion. It is what it is, says on a packet, so to speak. Excuse me, it actually is invisible, or its refractive qualities make it invisible when it goes into the water, and therefore that can only be good simply for the fact that the fish can't see it. It comes in 3 different breaking strains, 15 pound, 11 pound and 7 pound. I don't use the 7 pound, it's too light for the kind of style of the fish I go for. I'm considering using it in the summer for tench fishing, but this time of year and for carp fishing, I stick to the 11 pound. It's just that little bit thinner, just that little bit more difficult to see. And this time of year when the water clarity is becoming much more clearer when the fish aren't avidly feeding. So I do use that, and I use that on all my rigs, pop-ups, bottom baits, whatever. Here's part of one I made earlier. No, I can't even find it. First of all, a length of illusion. I always pull it out, straighten it out with my finger and thumbs, just so you know, when it sits on the bottom, it's going to sit out and it's going to hang out straight and nicely for us. Small loop, purely just to put your boilie stop onto. Hook-wise, this time of year I've come right down on hooks. I go straight for a size 8 hook. Most people say, yeah, it's a small hook. But my match days, we're using the smaller hooks, the more consistent the bites. Now, this is what I always do. Whenever I'm making a rig, I get my boilie, put the old needle through like you do, excuse me, then go straight back to the end of your hair, put the boilie on, and just pull it up. And you're not going to use this boilie, so it doesn't really matter if it all falls to pieces, because all you're going to use it for is to make sure that you've got the length of that hair exactly what you want it. So there you go, that's the first stage. I've got the length of illusion, and I've got my boilie on the end of it with the boilie stop. Straight over to my Maver size 8, In the summer I will go up to a bigger hook, but never more than a 6. Again, personal preference, the waters I fish. I appreciate there's other places other than Pallington, but I predominantly fish here, obviously. Now, your hook and your line, there we go. So you put the end other than from the boilie, through the back of that hook, and just drop it down all the way to the bottom. And this is what I must stress, it's personal preference, it's experimenting. You'll find a shorter hair will work sometimes and then a longer hair will work other times. Now this is the most important part of tying the knotless knot. You want to make sure that the hair lies straight along the back of that hook. If you don't, it won't be right. It just won't hook right, and I'll show you that shortly. But hopefully I'll be able to see that I've got that line straight down the back of the shank of the hook. Now this is where, I say, the reason I tie that boilie on, I know exactly where that is going to sit on that hook now. So I normally just take finger and thumb length off, and then I go for the wraps. And I normally go to 14 down the shank. The good thing about Illusion is that with its properties, I therefore don't have to use any shrink tubing or anything like that. I can just keep on wrapping down, making the line actually in effect my shrink tubing. Back to the far end of the line, and then basically put the end through the back. It's always working through the back of the hook and the eye of the hook. And then simply pull it tight. Now, very important point coming up. When you start to really firmly pull tight on there, make sure that that line is sitting right on the back of the shank of the hook. Pull it back, and there we go. And that is simply the rig I use. Right, then just to test it, I always, as we all do, just put it around the back and see it's biting straight into my hand. Sharp little hook there. And you know that that's going to turn when it's ejected by that fish. And you can see it's happening every time. Now, again, personal preference, where you're fishing, be it silt, snags, weed, is going to come down to the length of your hook link. And again, so I keep on saying, personal preference. Now, my preference is short rigs. I predominantly fish short rigs. I fish the method a lot in the summer, so therefore I want that bait near my method mix. Then all I do is take my swivel, again personal preference, I use solar swivels, very good quality swivel. End of the line, back down, and I'm going to make actually a hinge rig. Instead of using like hinge swivels and things like that, I do it purely myself. It saves on expense and it works just as well, if not better in my opinion. Small bit of the old saliva just to cut down on any burn that the Illusion might do by pulling it tightly together. Snip off the excess, and voila, I've got a hinged rigged, inexpensive, very, very effective rig. Now, one thing I do use a lot, especially this time of year, and I want to show you this, is I glug it. This is something that we make at Palatrax here, and it's various flavours. And basically, poke your boilie in amongst that mess. This is a fruity one. Sink it in there. And slowly draw it out. And all over your boilie is a beautiful fruit-flavoured glug, high attractant glug. And what you can do then with that is you can actually dip it into pellet, into powder, and it'll cover all over there. And if we pop it into here, pop it in the old tank here, you'll see that that rig is virtually invisible with a great big lump of glugged flavoured boilie onto it. And it just looks good. I mean, you use other rigs and I'm not happy with them. I'm just happy with the fact that all you can really see there is the swivel, the hook and the bait. And that's the best I can do. You can't get an invisible hook or an invisible swivel. Moving on, there's not just the bottom rig. There's also the pop-up rig as well. It's something I do use more so in the summer. I know a lot of people use it in the winter purely because you could pop up above the debris, but I'll explain why I don't. very shortly. But likewise, you see I'm using exactly the same rigs I just made for you a short time ago, but instead I've got a pop-up boilie on the end of it, still got it hinged back here, and I've got a solar depth charge for critical balancing of that pop-up. And you'll see that it works just as well. And the good thing is, again, it's invisible, and that's why I like it. And look at that, that's just excellently balanced. Sitting up, you can lengthen the length of your link to whatever you want, so you can pop it up as shallow to the bottom or as deep to the bottom as you want it to be. And it's just a very good rig, and it's just hanging there beautifully for that carp to come along, suck it up and eject, and away, off you go. The reason I don't particularly, and again, personal preference, go for the pop-ups at Pallington is that I always, apart from when I glugger bait, I always use solar pop-up foam. It's a perfect presentation foam. And basically, it's something I made earlier. Again, exactly the same rig as we had before, but with a small piece of pop-up foam squeezed onto the hook and then covering the actual tip of that hook as well, the point, so protecting it, so I'm not going to pick up any debris. I cast out, and it's a good eye leveler. You can see that piece of white flying out when you cast. You can keep your eye on it. That's not the purpose of it, but it's just another of its advantages. Hopefully this will work now in the tank, and you'll see what happened and why I don't go for the pop-up. You see that piece of foam there is just holding that bait up, and it'll last about 30 seconds, hold it up above all those debris, and then it's an organic material, it just breaks down. Naturally, there's no ill effects to any of the plant life, fish life at all in the lake. And what it'll do is just fall down and it'll sit above any debris. There you see, off it goes, it's just breaking down, and you see how slowly it does. So you can move your weight around, knowing that and there it's gone. So basically the advantage is that finish this off for me by having that foam. It just slowly settles down on top of any debris on the bottom, any leaves, sticks or whatever like that, and just lies there perfectly above any rubbish on the floor. And that's why I don't use it instead of pop-up systems. It works for me, and the more I talk about it, the more I want to get out there and do it. So that's where I go now. Well, I've escaped back out into the wild where I really want to be, away from the bivvies and the showrooms, back to what I really want to do, and that's been fishing. Still again on that fly rod, straight away, a couple of minutes, and a beautiful little pristine Pallington common. Lovely orange winter fins, and absolutely unmarked. Nice little mouth. Bit of damage there, which I treated earlier with the Clinique. Let's have a check on the other side for the camera, just to show what I mean. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous. There's only one place for her now. Let's pop her back and get back onto that rod and see if we can pop some more out. There's bigger ones there, but I'm not really bothered. Anything will do. Back you go, girl. Again, keeping nice and low. Paramount of the safety of the fish. Got to look after them. This is where I'm going to get cold as well. Gorgeous. Oh, it's cold. Do you really want to go back there? And away. Way to fight another day. They're still topping out there. Still moving around. We've got Grandfather Bailiff over there. A man of his age and stature, we had to get him a little chair to sit on. You got Steve there looking for submarines. You caught anything, Nick? Nothing at all. Are they still moving over there? What's Steve got those glasses for? Your eyesight failing that much, is it, Nick? Is there a chance you'll ever get seeing a 30-pounder through those, not on the bank? Not going to be rude to me.
Good luck, good luck.
Well, it's happened. It's been a long, hard wait, but I had the middle rod go off and we've hooked into a fish tucked right into those margins over there. I put a bed of bait out and it's happened, so good. If you can just move my third rod for us there, please. Only a small one, but it's a fish. And they really have. Yeah, please, Rod. I say it really has been a bit of a struggle. They've come out on the surface all right. And the rest of the boys are having a crack with controller floats. But this is the first little run. Just give me a bit of room to move in. Only a small fish, but be the start of great things. That's a red herring bait, 18mm. So I moved up from 14s to 18s and literally chucked it right into those reeds. A little common. Thank you, Rod. Happy now. Off the surface and off the bottom. So out of the air next, that's it. And hooking mat's just over there. A lovely little golden winter common. And one wife with one hooking mat. Thank you, Tinny.
Lovely little fish.
Plump as a little pig. And hoofed into that 18mm bait, so it was worth the change, that was certain. Like I said earlier, you've got to muck around in the winter. They're still here, the fish, they don't go anywhere. Just got to work on them, find them, and still catch them. Look at that. Again, doing the honours, holding up those fins. Lovely big fat mouth, nice barbels. Super stuff. Let's have a look on the other side. Not a mark at all. Look at that. Only 4 or so pounds, but pristine condition. Good clean barbels. Lovely. All right, we'll pop her back and keeping her lay, look for some more. This water is so cold. Look at that. Back into the depths. Super stuff. I love it. Well, while Mr. Dale's been away warming his cockles away from the bank, we've been out here in the cold, the still of the night, and we still managed to wheedle out a couple of little fellas. I've had this pretty little common out the Rainbow Lake on hair-rigged red herring, and Carl, over to you with that beauty.
Yeah, I've pretty much had the same. It's worth the 36 hours wait for me on red herring. Pretty little fish, just down in the margin, so that's made me happy.
But they are, it's been a struggle. There's no doubt about that. These temperatures have dropped right. There's no wind. It's beautiful down here, but the fish have been hard to come by, but we're still getting them. I mean, that's 19 for the session, so far, let's say that, and hopefully a few more for us. But these little fellas are going to go back to their homes. This one's say into the rainbow, Carl's one into the course, and let's get rid of them.
Let's do that now then. Okay.
Well, it's been said on many videos, go back home and get bigger. And again, that's what we want to see. Pristine, pretty little fella. 3 or 4, 5 pound perhaps. But time to go home. Don't mind getting muddy and wet for this one. Full of beans and away.
Okay, well, I'm going to put her back nice and slowly just to let her recover, and hopefully I'll have her back out at £20 or even bigger. See you later, mate. Not in any particular hurry. That's what it's all about as far as I'm concerned. The move of the swim paid off. Well, I'm just as wet and cold as the fish. I'm going to go and get dried up.
Fish back now, back to the bivvy warmer. Here we are. Well, tomorrow, Carl, I want to get those boilies made. Look at that kind of stuff. We know how boilies are working. We've all made good moves today, actually.
Well, to be honest with you, like you say, lugging the gear around all that way makes you sort of think, is it worth it? But it's obviously paid off, and I'm confident now that it's clouded over a bit. Perhaps that little bit of warmth that we've had today might be just enough to make a few more of the bigger ones feed as well.
It's a lot warmer this evening than it has been for the last 2 nights.
You're only staying there because you stand next to a fire.
Stood next to the
You
fire,
walk down there
which is
5 feet and it's not quite the same.
That's right. That's right. But this is a great invention. Every fisherman should have one.
Glad I'm not a fish.
Yeah.
We can patent this little baby.
Right.
But no, I mean, this night now, I mean, it's clouded over a bit. We've had a bit of rain. You never know.
But I still think it's going to be memorable for that fly fishing this morning in the frost, you know.
Cheers, mate.
Eh? Off the surface, fishing the frost.
Head bailiff
Brilliant.
stuff, eh? Look at that. I'll give you a
Love
star later.
Yeah.
You'll do
that's
anything
right.
for a fruit pastel.
That's it.